All right, guys, here is part two of the Learning to Lead Yourself series. The three secrets to leading yourself. The first two we went over in lesson one were one, develop your leadership identity, and two, define your leadership initiatives. And today was all about developing your leadership inputs. Now, I know Chad has a lot of input on inputs because he's a master at this. So make sure you've got your notes ready. He's got a lot of stuff he's going to share right now. So, Chad, what do you have today?
Well, I got five main things to hit here, and I left a few for you because I'm going to leave you at least five yourself. So the first thing is I love this one. As a leader, you conform to what you consume. So and here's the thing: is that we're all consuming something. Whether you think about it or not, you're consuming something. And just like you wouldn't want your neighbor to come dump their garbage in your front yard every day, you wouldn't be cool with that. You don't want other people, or you don't want it to be open to having garbage dumped in your mind, because garbage in, garbage out. So whatever we're putting in eventually is coming out. And so we conform to what we consume. I love how we use the metaphor of the body too, because that's just easy for us all to go, yeah, that makes sense. If we're eating carbs and sugar and junk all day long, then before long we notice it in the mirror and it starts to show itself. Just as with business and with leadership, if we're being lazy, we're not doing the right things, it definitely shows up in our bank account. It shows up in our just our life in general, and everything that's happening around us. So that was the first one. The second one that I had on here was, what are you doing today that will strengthen your leadership tomorrow? And this is just talking about intention. It's just saying, okay, we wake up in the morning and say, I should do something today that will strengthen my leadership tomorrow. What's it going to be? And maybe it's a 15-minute devotion. I've heard if you just read, 10 pages of a good book a day. Like, you go through so many books in a year, like 98% of the population's not reading 10 pages of a good book a day. So you're strengthening yourself by just investing, that constant, consistent investing. And, if you improve yourself 1/3 of 1% every day, that's over 100% change in you over a year. 5 years from now, you look back and you're like, whoa, I don't even recognize who I was 5 years. And then that happens every 5 years, because Joel and I should have our construction hats on right now, and we should always be under construction, because we've never arrived. And we don't want to fall in love with the finish line. We want to fall in love with the process of training to be a champion, because then it's just a lifestyle choice that says, I'm going to get better. When are you going to stop getting better? Never. I always love the John Maxwell stories of his dad. His dad's just going to the nursing home and dreaming about doing a podcast from the nursing home. I mean, he's not like, okay, I'm finished growing, I'm done. He's like, okay, what's next? In his 90s or however old he got to be. So I love that. The third one is learning to be comfortable, or never being. Well, here's what he said: growth and comfort never coexist. So you have to choose one. You want to just be comfortable and numb, right? Which is kind of default mode. I mean, that's easy. That's the path of least resistance, is to melt into the couch, right? There's just the comfort. But if you want to grow, then you have to be aware. Your awareness of your comfort level has to grow. And if you feel yourself becoming too comfortable, you have to say, whoa, whoa, whoa. Now, I'm not saying, let me put a disclaimer in there. I'm not saying don't learn to go relax at the beach and lay there and go, I love my life. Of course, learn to relax. I'm talking about a life of comfort, a life of looking for comfort and pushing away anything that makes you uncomfortable. That is a very crappy life. Okay, I'm convinced of that. So growth and comfort never coexist. Choose growth, anti-comfort, pro-growth. Okay, especially if you're in this business, you want to be an entrepreneur. There is no comfortable entrepreneur. It's just not possible. If you think you can be a comfortable entrepreneur, then you've chosen the wrong profession. You should go get the clocky in and clocky out and hang up your entrepreneurial hat, because if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to be fighting and you're going to be scrapping and you're going to be growing and you're going to be embracing all kinds of things. And that's why 90% of the population will always work for the other 10%, because only 10% has the courage to go out and do all the things to live what I would say is the better life. Okay. Number 4, who are you surrounding yourself with? And I love this one so much. I've seen it in my own life. And if you guys are real with yourselves, you would see it in your own life too. He says, the average of your 5 closest friends, you're going to have similar health. You're going to have similar wealth, right? And you can look at that. Show me your friends and I will show you your future. So true. So true. So I'll just leave that with that. Number 5, this is just the beginning of the last 3, Joel. So I'm dropping a little nugget here. You get the two, number 3. What do you consume that will stretch your leadership? I love the idea of a rubber band, because a rubber band, when you stretch a rubber band, it never goes back to the same as it was. It stretches. And if you have to show up to go up. And so if you're just showing up and you're putting yourself in front of good information, it might just be that you might go to something for all day Saturday and all day Sunday, and you get those 2 thoughts that just adjust where you are in life and move you in a new direction. And you know something great, if you go and put yourself in front of that information, something great could happen. You know, if you sit home on the couch and watch television, nothing great will happen. So my recommendation to all of you is just get on things like this, go to the events, sign up for some different classes, read good books, because it just takes those one little ideas to get dropped. And that's a seed that's gonna sit there, and some of the seeds are gonna grow, and down the road you'll go, wow, I'm glad I showed up to that, which led to that, which led to that, which led to this relationship, which led to this, and boom. So just do it. Just do it. So anyway, Joel, I'll leave it at that. And thanks for the jump on here, guys. And I hope you all have a blessed day.
So good. Perfect point that Chad just made. And I'll put it in a different term. The seed that is never planted will never grow. That's exactly it. That's why inputs are so important, guys. So today, you're doing a great service for yourself, because you are inputting great leadership information. And that's what we want for you. Because, you know, the thing that Craig said was, what you put in determines your outcome. So by feeding yourself today, your outcome is going to be completely different. He goes, we all experience undesirable outcomes because of unhealthy inputs. So take a look at what you have producing right now. If what you're producing isn't what you want, take a look at what you're putting in, because that is directly proportionate to what you're putting out. You know, he used health as an example. If you're putting in donuts constantly, you're going to be a donut. If you're putting in lean, healthy food, you're going to be your best lean, healthy self. One of the important things that he talked about that leaders obsess about is leaders obsess about outcomes, but great leaders obsess about inputs. Now, this is very, very important. I want you to catch this right now, because as a company, for the longest time, we were constantly obsessed with outputs. You know, we were talking about, you know, who's the highest enroller, who's signing up the most people, who's having the best outcomes. With our new 4-in-1 Fast Start bonus program, which is the best in the entire industry now, we are focusing on the inputs. So we took a great company and just turned it into the best company. Why? Because we're focusing on your inputs. You just need to go get 4 people to be customers and have 1 friend join you. The inputs, and then teach them the inputs of going out and getting 4 customers and getting 1 person to join them. Guys, that's it. So if you just focus on those inputs, great things are going to happen. Point number 1 that he was talking about is what you consume is what is your inputs. He said the content that you consume shapes who you become. So as a leader, what are you consuming? Are you intentionally consuming leadership and personal development material that will permeate through you and come down to other people? He goes, the majority of what we watch, read, scroll through, and look at does not help our leadership. Again, the stuff that you are currently doing, ask yourself, is this feeding my leadership growth? You know, your leadership capacity is strengthened by the great inputs you put in. But the empty entertainment and the negativity that you see all day long and the distractions, that doesn't feed your leadership soul. What it does is it detracts from it. So you need to put something in place, a plan, a leadership development plan, a personal development plan in place to proactively feed that leadership soul. So what are you doing today to strengthen the leader you are supposed to be tomorrow? Because if you're not doing it today, tomorrow you will never become. There's no excuse for not consuming leadership, guys. You can carve out, like Chad said, 15 minutes a day. 15 minutes a day is all it takes to learn something new, to have a new thought, to uncover something new about yourself that you didn't know. So there's no excuse not to do it. Point number 2 is what you attempt. So you don't grow by what you already did. You know, unless you're perfecting a specific task, being repetitive doesn't help you grow. So stagnation helps when you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again. So what you need to do is go, am I doing more of what I already did? Ask yourself that question. And then start doing something different that you would normally do. Do it in a different way. You know, one of the things that we used to talk about all the time was take a different route somewhere. You will find new parts of town that you've never seen before just by ignoring your ways and going a different way. He said, you need to find a way to grow, and the best leaders grow in new and unrelated areas of life. So that means go find a new hobby, go do something different that will stretch your brain and cause it to grow and think. It doesn't always have to be leadership related, but it can apply to leadership. So go out and do something to grow and stretch yourself. He said, trying something new will do 3 things. It will increase your humility because you've never done it before. So you obviously aren't the greatest at it. It gets you from being comfortable to being uncomfortable. And like Chad said, growth and comfort never exist in the same area. So you need to get out of your comfort zone. And it builds confidence that you're always growing. When you're doing something different, there's a little piece of your brain that goes, oh, this is new. I'm excited because I'm learning. Learning is what keeps you growing and keeps you living. It's not good for you to stop growing. I had my friend Aaron tell me this the other day. He goes, did you know that there is no Hebrew word for vacation or retirement? That's incredible. So if God specifically left a word out of creation in the Bible, it's one of those things that you should start paying attention to. So growth is a lifetime thing. It's good for your soul to continue to grow. He said, think big, start small. Guys, that's great. Do amazing things, but don't get overwhelmed by big steps. Look at the small steps. And the third point was, who do you surround yourself with? If you want to grow as a leader, surround yourself with people who are better, smarter, wiser, and more experienced than you. Are the people around you pushing you to grow or pulling you down like a crab in a pot? See, crabs, they know that if you put them in a pot, none of them will get out, because every time one goes to grab to get out, another one will grab it and pull it back down in the pot. So don't be a crab in a pot and don't hang out with crabs. Look for people that push you and help you get to where you're going. Great leadership starts with great self-leadership. And the 3 questions you have to ask yourself are, what is your leadership consumption plan? Do you have that set in place? If not, take this week to figure out what your consumption plan is going to be. What new are you going to learn? And third, what do you need in your life to stretch your leadership, and who do you need in your life to stretch your leadership? Guys, thanks for tuning in today. Hopefully this will help you and cause you to go and do things differently when it comes to leading yourself. We'll see you here again next time, guys. Go out and make it an awesome week.